The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The senators in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by Pandit Rajagopal, Hindu Center of Virginia, the Richmond Temple.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaah Bhadram Pashyemakshavirya Jatraah Sthirairangai Sustamagam Sastanobhi Vyasheva Devahitayadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastaksho arishtanemihi Swasti no bruhaspatir Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O God, may we hear auspicious words with our ears. May we see auspicious things with our eyes. May we enjoy a prayerful in life with steadiness in our body and mind. May the supremely rich element like fire and earth be propitious to us. May the Protector bless us with well-being and prosperity. May the Holy ensure our welfare. Peace, peace, and peace. Thank you, and God bless you all.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll. All those in attendance will please record their vote aye. Clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. Senate Journal for Wednesday, February 6, 2019.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All those in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 3.
Ayes 37, noes 3. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the House of Delegates. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I hope you're well today, sir.
Good afternoon, Senator. I am. I hope you are.
I am indeed. I would respectfully move we waive the reading of any communications received from the House of Delegates.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 2.
Ayes 38, noes 2. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk report any communication from the governor.
I do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now comes the time in the morning hour where we have the privilege and pleasure of welcoming our distinguished guests here with us in the Senate gallery. I will give my daily reminder that the way this will proceed is that a senator will stand up and recognize an individual or group. I will then offer the warm welcome of the Senate, and at the very end, we will clap together. So I'd like to begin by calling on Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of 3 announcements.
Thank the Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start today by thanking this morning we had our prayer offered by Pandit Rajagopal Thupal. He's from the Hindu Center of Virginia and of the Richmond Temple, and he's accompanied by his wife and fellow priests. And I thought it was so beautiful and peace-filled, and we were very grateful for that, and I hope you'll share that with him, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. Would Pandit Rajagopal, your wife, and your guests please rise in the gallery if you're able? Pandit, thank you so much for that very beautiful and peaceful prayer, as the Senator from Henrico so eloquently said. We are grateful to you for your moral leadership and deeply appreciative that you would come to the Senate today to get us off on the right foot. Thank you to your wonderful wife and fellow priest for your leadership as well, and to your wonderful guest. Thank you all. You're welcome back here anytime. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our 3 distinguished guests. Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Mr. President, thank you so much. I also am pleased today that I have with me a young man from William & Mary Law School. He's an L1, and he is very interested in pursuing his law future in maybe prosecution or some other service of his community. So Mr. Evan Sweeney is my intern today, and I hope you'll welcome him to the gallery.
Thank the Senator. Would Evan Sweeney please rise in the gallery if you're able? Hello, Evan. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for your wonderful work on behalf of Senator Donovan and on behalf of all Virginians. We are grateful to have bright young people who want to follow a career in public service. And also, we know that you're at William & Mary Law School, a phenomenal law school. And as a former prosecutor myself, I think it's a great profession to pursue, and that's your interest. And if you want to do it, I know that you will. So we wish you nothing but the best in your very bright career. And I would ask everyone please to join me and extend the warmest welcome of the Senate to Evan Sweeney. Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And last but certainly not least, I have a very special introduction this morning. I have a friend that I've known for many, many years, Sherry Moore, who is here today with her children, Rachel and Turner Moore. And I have been given permission to tell you that I got to deliver both of them. And it is especially special for me to see Rachel here so grown up. Rachel was a little bitty, maybe 4 or 5 year old when Sherry was pregnant with Turner, and I still have hanging on my wall a picture that she drew me to say Happy Valentine's Day, Dr. Donovan. It wasn't quite spelled that way, and I assume her spelling has improved. But I love that picture, Rachel, and I still have it. So, Mr. President, with the warmest of welcomes, the Moores are here.
I thank the Senator. Would our friends Sherry, Rachel, and Turner Moore please rise in the gallery if you're able? Sherry, Rachel, and Turner, thank you so much for being here today. We are honored by your presence, and I know that the Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan in particular, is very happy to see you and very proud of all three of you, particularly the two that she got to deliver. What a special treat to see you here today all grown up. I know that your family is very proud of you, as we all are. So I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to the Moore family. Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. I rise for purposes of an introduction.
Good morning, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, visiting us in the Capitol and present in the gallery are members of the 2018-2019 Fellows Program from my area. The program is a very prestigious statewide scholarship program for high-achieving second-year students at Virginia's community colleges. In addition to financial support, the fellows participate in a very unique curriculum that's designed to hone their leadership skills, strengthen their community involvement, and develop a strong foundation for future success. They come every year and visit us in the Capitol and spend a day here and come and visit me. It has formerly been known as the Valley Protein Fellows Program, but it now has several other patrons who are very big supporters of this program, and that includes Davenport Energy, which is a family-owned energy provider based in Chatham, Inova, everybody knows Inova, Potomac Health Foundation, and Valley Proteins. And so with that, Mr. President, I would ask that you please extend to this extraordinary, very smart, talented, engaged group of young people who this morning had the opportunity to meet with the Secretary of Education. They're here to do a lot of work and to learn. So please extend to them the very warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our leaders in the Valley Protein Fellows Program in the gallery please rise if you're able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We are honored by your presence and grateful for your leadership in the Valley and throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We echo the eloquent and generous words of the Senator from Fauquier, who I know is particularly proud of this program and of each one of you. She welcomes you every single year and sings your praises. Thank you for what you do in our community to help the Commonwealth of Virginia be a better place to live, work, and raise a family. And we look forward to great things to come from each of you in the future. I would ask everyone please to join me to send the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from the Valley Protein Fellows. Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thank the Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us today in the gallery is a group from Virginia Organizing. They're here today to lobby on behalf of their legislative agenda. Please extend to them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank the Senator. Would our leaders from Virginia Organizing please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank each one of you for being here today with us. We are very proud of the work you do in advocating on behalf of those who often don't have a voice, and we're grateful for your leadership and for making our legislative process one that works for everybody. And so we look forward to continuing to see you here in the Senate and in the capital of Virginia and helping to make this Commonwealth an even better place for all of us. So I would ask everyone, please join me to extend the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from Virginia Organizing. Senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
Mr. President, I'd like to draw to your attention in the gallery and throughout the Capitol are members of the Virginia Nurses Association. They're joining us from all over the Commonwealth, including a group I met with this morning from Jefferson College of Health Sciences in Roanoke that soon will be called Radford University Roanoke Division. In fact, House Bill 2181 to be passed today, unanimously, I expect, will be establishing the Radford University Roanoke Division. Mr. President, the Virginia Nurses Association, as you well know, is a professional organization representing over 109,000 nurses throughout the Commonwealth, including all areas of nursing specialization and nurse practitioners, all areas of clinical settings and work environments. So, Mr. President, I know you'd be happy to welcome the Nurses Association and the nurses that are all over the Capitol today and give them a very warm, I guess they're in the gallery, give them a very warm welcome to the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our leaders from the Virginia Nurses Association in the gallery please rise if you are able? That's great. Thank you all so much for joining us here today in the Senate and in the Capitol. We are always happy to see our nurse leaders and so grateful to each one of you for the work you do to make healthcare delivery more impactful, to make our lives longer, healthier, more productive. And we could not have the system of medicine that we have without such high-quality nurses in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I know we all have connections to nurses and are grateful for them in our own lives. My sister's a labor and delivery nurse, and grandmother was a nurse as well, so I have a particular affinity for this wonderful profession. And so we thank you all. We wish you nothing but the best. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from the Virginia Nurses Association. Senior Senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thank the Senator. You have the floor.
Mr. President, joining us in the Senate gallery today are members of the American Association of University Women of Virginia. And they're here visiting the Capitol today as part of their annual state lobby day. The AAUW is the nation's leading voice, Mr. President, promoting equity and education for women and girls. And since its founding, they've actually awarded more than $100 million in fellowships, grants, and awards. They're doing great work. And their first branch was actually established in Virginia, right here in Richmond in 1909, and has grown over the last 100-plus years to have 6,000 members and supporters in the Commonwealth. They're doing a great job here today, lobbying on behalf of the issues that are important to them, and I'd ask that we offer them the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank the Senator. Would our leaders from the American Association of University Women of Virginia please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us once again here this year in the Senate. We are so proud to welcome you every single year, and so grateful for your leadership and all that you do on behalf of women and so many others to create opportunity for educational attainment and economic mobility. We echo the generous and eloquent words of the senior senator from Richmond City, and I think it's very impressive, $100 million worth of awards to make possible the American dream for so many other people, and particularly for our women. And so thank you. We wish you nothing but success in your continued work. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from the American Association of University Women of Virginia. Senator from Alexandria, Senator Evan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thank the Senator. You have the floor.
We're joined today by one of the most interesting and knowledgeable groups to visit us this year, and that's members of the Virginia Association of Museums and their executive director, Jennifer Thomas. The Virginia Association of Museums has a membership of more than 2,500 professionals, and these important institutions include more than 1,000 museums, galleries, and cultural sites, accounting for more than 12,000 Virginia jobs. They contribute more than $21.5 billion tourism dollars to Virginia, and the typical museum spends a huge percentage of their budget directly educating K-12 students. Tonight they're hosting a reception at the Virginia Museum of History and Culture that we're all invited to, and that museum in its own right is a wonderful place to go. They're going to be unveiling their top 10 endangered artifacts of Virginia for the year, and you can see some important items from collections. So I ask that, Mr. President, you extend the warm greetings of the Senate to our friends and neighbors from the Virginia Association of Museums.
Thank the Senator. Would our friends from the Virginia Association of Museums please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Thank you for your leadership and all that you do to support our wonderful museums in the Commonwealth. They are crown jewels and something that contribute to our education, to our culture, to our economy, make Virginia tremendously unique in the country. And it's work that you do every day to preserve our history, but also to make sure that we have a brighter future that's informed by where we've been. And so I would ask everyone, please, to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from the Virginia Association of Museums. Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
I rise for an introduction.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Joining us in the gallery today are members of the Virginia Manufacturing and Modular Housing Association. Over 178,000 Virginia families reside in manufactured homes. Virginia is also home to 2 manufacturing housing facilities. Every day, the association strives to provide affordable housing solutions for Virginia. I ask you to give them a warm welcome, please.
Thank the Senator. Would our friends from the Virginia Manufactured and Modular Housing Association please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Thank you for your leadership and your contributions to Virginia's economy and to our stock of affordable housing to help families to have that security and to move forward in their lives and have economic mobility. We are grateful to you and all the options that you create for people all throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. I would echo the eloquent, generous words of the Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff, and ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our distinguished guests. Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Today in the gallery, we have a very special guest, Miss Frances May West Byers. She's accompanied by her son and daughter-in-law, Dan and Nancy Byers. Mr. President and members of the Senate, I want to introduce you to Frances May West Byers, a legend in the Ashland and Louisa communities who just celebrated her 104th birthday on January 25th. We are honoring her today with a resolution. During her lifetime, Miss West has seen it all, from the Great Depression to World War II to the moon landing and the dawn of the internet era. And she has used her experiences to become known as the unofficial historian of Hanover County. She and her late husband, John, raised 7 children. They have 28 grandchildren, 52 great-grandchildren, and 34 great-great-grandchildren. Mr. President, I ask that we give this very special living legend the very warmest welcome of the Senate.
You know what? Go ahead and clap right now. Thank you, and God bless you, Francis. We're all so proud of you. Dan and Nancy, thank you for being here in support of this wonderful woman, and God bless you. We wish you nothing but the best, and the Commonwealth of Virginia is very proud of you. Thank you very much. For what purpose, Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline, rise.
Mr. President, I'd like to make an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, shadowing me is Leon Soria from the Virginia Coalition for Open Government. He is a student at Virginia Commonwealth University who is working with the coalition this year and interested in seeing how the Senate works. And for some reason, the coalition thought he should follow me, so it was a little misguided, but appreciate him being here today and hope you'll give him the warm welcome.
Would Leon Soria please rise in the gallery if you are able? Okay, maybe you're here somewhere. We will still thank you on camera. Thank you so much for being here today. Thanks for shadowing Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline. You will learn a lot. He does tremendous work here in the Senate, and so we look forward to seeing you in person. But for now, we'll give you the warmest welcome to the Senate on television. Do any other senators wish to be recognized for purposes of an introduction? Is there any other business to come in the morning hour? Seeing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Thursday, February 7th, 2019, uncontested calendar, House bills on third reading.
The Senator will give us 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Senator. Senator will be at Senate will come to order. Senators will please take their seats. Briefly returning to the morning hour, I'd like to call on the Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Apologies, Mr. President. I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, a late-breaking green sheet here on the Christopher Newport University social work team. They come up here to visit with us every year. They're just getting situated, I believe. And they impress upon us the importance of the professionalism and the work they do, the training and the background they get at Christopher Newport University, and they're a vital cog to our workforce development wheel and to go forward, Mr. President. So I appreciate you returning the morning hour and hope you'll offer them the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our leaders from Christopher Newport University School of Social Work please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for being here today. Thanks for joining us. We are honored to have you in the Senate of Virginia and hope that you have a very productive day here in the Capitol and help educate all of us on the needs around social work. It's such a vital profession, and we're proud to have committed, thoughtful, really intelligent leaders like each one of you to carry on that profession and help all of our families and help the Commonwealth become a better place to live. And so I would ask everyone please to join me in the eloquent words of the Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason, in welcoming Christopher Newport University School of Social Work students to the Senate.
Uncontested calendar. House bills on third reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we take up the calendar, if I could just take a moment to try to orient the members of the Senate.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're going to go through the calendar today. We'll take the House bills on the third reading on the uncontested calendar up. Then we will take the House bills on the second reading, uncontested and regular calendar up, which is just a suspension of the rules. Then Senator Hanger will pass by Senate Bill 1100, which is the budget bill, temporarily. We will then take up the memorial and commending resolutions and ultimately return to SB 1100, which is the budget bill. But I think that both sides would appreciate a brief recess in order that we can have some internal discussions about the budget. So, Mr. President, with that, I would respectfully move that all the House bills on the third reading on the uncontested calendar, which puts them in the amendable form on pages 1 through 6, which includes House Bill 1655 through House Bill 2705, be placed on their final passage in the block after the adoption of any amendments. Anyone who desires to remove a House bill from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall House bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 6, House Bill 1655 through House Bill 2705, be placed upon their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in a block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
House Bill 1655, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1679, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 16...
Senior Senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
Could House Bill 1679 on page 2 come out of the block, please?
Without objection, House Bill 1679 be removed from the block.
House Bill 1681, reported from the Committee on Finance.
Mr. President.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
President, I would ask that House Bill 1681 come out of the block.
Without objection, House Bill 1681 will be removed from the block.
House Bill 1950, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1974, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2021, reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Mr. President, I would ask that House Bill 2180 be pulled from the block on page 3.
We got our little head, right?
Mr. President.
Senator from James City County.
I appreciate the anxiousness, but if we could at least wait till the clerk calls the number of the bill, because there's a reason for that.
House Bill 2180.
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Mr. President, I'd move that House Bill 2180 be removed from the block.
Without objection, House Bill 2180 is removed from the block.
House Bill 2181, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2347.
Mr. President.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I would ask that House Bill 2181 be removed from the block also.
Without objection, House Bill 2181 is removed from the block.
House Bill 2347, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2358, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2362, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2365, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2526, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2555, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2705, reported from the Committee on Finance.
Mr. President.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Serville.
Can House Bill 2705 come out of the block?
Without objection, House Bill 2705 will be removed from the block. Question is, shall the House bills pass in a block? That is all bills except for House Bills 1679, 1681, 2180, 2181, and 2705. All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The bills in the block pass.
Returning to page 2, House Bill 1679.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill pass. Speak to that just
Thank
briefly.
you, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the committee. This bill just clarifies the rates of taxation on all-terrain vehicles, mopeds, and off-road motorcycles, which are subject to the motor vehicle sales tax. I would hope it be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose is Senator from Mecklenburg? Senator Ruff, rise. Are you okay? Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1679? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1679 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. House Bill 1679 passes.
House Bill 1681.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that House Bill 1681 pass and speak to that.
Thanks, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, this bill is identical to a bill patroned by the senator from Chesapeake, which simply adds the area down in his region to this particular housing grant program, credit program, rather. It would include with this bill the Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Newport News metropolitan statistic area. I would hope it would be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1681? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1681 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. House Bill 1681 passes.
House Bill 2180.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that House Bill 2180 pass and speak to that.
Thanks, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think my friends just want to see me explain all these non-contested bills that are identical to Senate bills previously passed. But this one deals specifically with the Semiconductor Manufacturing Grant Fund, which basically sets up our incentive package for Micron. So I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Thanks, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2180? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2180 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 2.
Ayes 38, noes 2. House Bill 2180 passes.
House Bill 2181.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I move that House Bill 2181 pass and speak to that.
Senator has the floor.
This, again, Mr. President, is identical to a bill previously passed, patroned by the senator from Grayson, which sets up the authority for Radford University Board visitors to establish the Roanoke Division, which was formerly the Jefferson School. So I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Thanks, Senator. For what purpose is Senator from Roanoke City? Senator Edwards, rise.
Mr. President, I proudly urge the body to support House Bill 2181.
Senator has the floor.
We've already passed the identical bill, but it's worth mentioning that this creates Radford University Roanoke Division. We're very proud of this in both the New River Valley and the Roanoke Valley. Jefferson College of Health Sciences, of course, teaches nursing. Radford University has a nursing program. Combining the two will advance the cause of nursing and advance the teaching of nursing. And by the way, there's a nursing shortage throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the country, as a matter of fact. And furthermore, by having Jefferson College become part of Radford, Radford is a public college or university. Public university. Jefferson College is private. That means the tuition for students going to Radford University Roanoke Division will have lower tuition. And that's a benefit to everybody taking nursing courses at the Radford University Roanoke Division. This is very important to the Roanoke Valley, very important to the New River Valley, and I proudly and strongly urge that the body vote unanimously for House Bill 2181. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2181? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2181 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. House Bill 2181 passes.
House Bill 2705.
Mr. President.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that House Bill 2705 pass, and I'll speak to that.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This bill deals with the historic tax credit, which has been the subject of discussion in our tax preference committee that we've established several years ago. What we've done for the past several years is we've limited the amount of this historic tax credit to $5 million per year. This then, rather than have, and we've done that within the budget, this bill would put in statute that that limit will be $5 million. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds rise? No? Good. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2705?
Mr. President.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Serville.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, when this was put in the budget a couple of years ago, I remember querying about this. We were told that the committees wanted to pump the brakes on this and to look at it and study it. This was studied, and in the quick research I was able to do, this RTD article from February of 2018 says, thousands of historic buildings around Virginia have been restored and put back into commercial residential use under the state and federal programs that offer these tax credits. And it's been resulted, 2 recent studies show these tax credits have been worth the cost, producing benefits through job creation, higher values, property values, and economic revitalization in neglected neighborhoods. In a 17-year period, the study showed that 2,582 building projects were benefited. It cost the state $1.2 billion in tax credits, but the benefits were $4.5 billion of private investment. And the study went on to find that once you include local increased property tax values, for every dollar we spend, we get back $5.35. This is one of the few tax credits that Virginia offers that actually does something and actually works and just doesn't line somebody's pockets. It actually produces value for taxpayers. It actually pays itself off within 5 years. And I think by putting a limit on this, we're really limiting our horizons. And while it's not going to affect my district a lot because I don't have a whole lot of buildings in my district that are over 50 years old that would be revitalized, but I think a lot of you who represent districts or areas that have really old areas and old buildings that could be rehabilitated, especially old industrial areas, this is going to, I think, limit development in your areas. You're probably going to see a lot of buildings come down instead of getting rehabbed. So I think it's a bad idea to cap this out, and I'm disappointed to see we're doing that. I hope we'd vote against it.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards rise?
Mr. President, I urge the body to vote against this bill.
Senator, the floor.
Senator from southeastern Fairfax has noted, this is a net benefit to the economy of the Commonwealth. It's a net benefit especially to many of our especially urban areas. I can tell you in Roanoke City we've used historic tax credits extensively. It's made a huge difference to the area, and so I would urge the body to vote against this. There's no reason to put it in statute. I understand it's been in the budget bill for a long time, but there's no point in doing this. I think it's a net benefit to the Commonwealth as a whole. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to wrap this up, speaking briefly in support of the bill, Mr. President. Mr. President, members of the Senate, I recognize and agree with the two senators that just spoke to the benefits of this historic tax credit. It's accomplishing quite a bit by being able to utilize these tax credits statewide. Truth of the matter is that we actually currently are expending in the range, or tax credits being claimed in the range of $80 to $90 million per year. I know 2 years ago it was $98 million, last year $87 million, this year so far, and it hasn't all been accounted for, roughly $70 million. So it's not going to end the program. It just, and these, I would also point out this is $5 million per year tax credits, and it can be carried forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2705? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2705 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 25, noes 15.
Ayes 25, noes 15. House Bill 2705 passes.
Uncontested calendar, House bills on second reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully move that all the House bills on the second reading on the uncontested calendar and regular calendar, including all bills on 6 through 8, including House Bill 1666 through House Bill 2065, that the rules of the Senate be suspended and that the second constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 6 through 8, House Bill 1666 through House Bill 2065 be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now ask that all the bills be passed by for the day, sir.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on third reading be passed by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on second reading.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that Senate Bill 1100 be passed by temporarily.
Thank the Senator. Without objection, Senate Bill 1100 will go by temporarily.
Memorial resolutions.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now move that all of the memorial resolutions on pages 9 through 11, which would include House Joint Resolution 631 through Senate Resolution 103, be agreed to in the usual manner in the block, waiving the reading of the resolution. Any senator who may desire to remove a memorial resolution from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the title of that resolution.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the memorial resolutions on pages 9 through 11, House Joint Resolution 631 through Senate Resolution 103, be considered in the block in the usual manner, waiving the reading of the resolutions thereof, with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the title of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. Clerk will read the titles of the memorial resolutions.
House Joint Resolution 631, celebrating the life of Richard Lee Towle, Sr. House Joint Resolution 712, celebrating the life of the Honorable Frederick McDonald Quayle.
Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully ask that HJR 712 be taken out of the block.
Without objection, HJR 712 will be removed from the block.
House Joint Resolution 730, celebrating the life of Harold W. Roller. House Joint Resolution 761, celebrating the life of George Welsh. House Joint Resolution 766, celebrating the life of Charles Edward Doan. Senate Joint Resolution 318, celebrating the life of the Honorable Frederick McDonald Quayle.
Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. I again humbly ask that Senate Joint Resolution 318 be taken out of the block.
Without objection, Senate Joint Resolution 318 is removed from the block.
Senate Joint Resolution 335, celebrating the life of Gary M. Knuckles. Senate Joint Resolution 340, celebrating the life of Dennis Lynn Brent. Senate Joint Resolution 344, celebrating the life of Harry E. Diesel. Senate Joint Resolution 345, celebrating the life of William K. Coors. Senate Joint Resolution 346, celebrating the life of James Matt Chandler. Senate Joint Resolution 349, celebrating the life of Edward Brown Snyder. Senate Joint Resolution 350, celebrating the life of Captain Charles M. Heron, United States Navy, retired. Senate Joint Resolution 351, celebrating the life of the Reverend Rudolph Bobby Lewis, Sr. Senate Joint Resolution 352, celebrating the life of Linwood S. Matthews. Senate Resolution 103, celebrating the life of Marjorie Hodges Lamar.
The resolutions will be agreed to in the usual manner. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolutions will please rise. Resolutions are agreed to.
Returning to page 9, House Joint Resolution 712.
Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've asked that HJR 712 and SJR 318 be taken out of the block. These two resolutions memorialize the life of Fred Quayle, who served in this body for many years. Fred was a fixture, a person we all looked up to in the city of Chesapeake. He was an intelligent man, a compassionate man, and always had an open door, even for those of us who served in the other chamber at the same time. He and his wife, Brenda, have been good friends to so many people in the city of Chesapeake and in the entire area in Hampton Roads that I really wanted to take this out and offer opportunities for those who knew him even better than I did to be able to speak to this. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose the Senator from Loudoun, Senator Black, rise?
Speak in favor of the measure.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, by a strange quirk, Fred Quayle and I trace our ancestry back to a 60-mile-long island called the Isle of Man off the coast of Liverpool. And the name Quayle is very famous over there. And my grandmother's name, which was Costain, was also likewise famous. And the 13th Senate district, the number of the 13th district moved from Senator Quayle's region to my region. And I received a very kind note from Senator Quayle, and he said, I hope you'll take good care of my district. And I wrote back, I said, well, I'll do my very best. So in any event, he's a man of great honor, and I think it's appropriate that we mark his passing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from James City County, Senator Norman, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of House Joint Resolution 712, sir.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Mr. President, Senator Quayle was part of the class of 1992 that came in, of which I think I am the lone remaining dinosaur. It is on our side. No. They are very young dinosaurs. I think it's very appropriate that his ancestors came from the Isle of Man, because Fred was a man of an enormous heart. He was a man of enormous respect. He was a man of enormous loyalty to his family and the University of Virginia. I still have visions of him one night in our freshman year in 1992, when there used to be an institution that you probably can't talk about now, known as Shoes. And down at Shoes, in those days, there was a dance floor. And the dance floor was made out of plastic planks that had various colors under them. And you could go out and show your finest dancing steps. And Fred, who was a fairly robust gentleman, got out there one night, and I mean, he was putting down some steps. And I said, Fred, where in the world did you learn to dance like that? And he said, Brenda made me go to Fred Astaire. But Fred was absolutely a wonderful guy, and I went down for the viewing that they had in Chesapeake, and Brenda and the family, the boys were there, and it was just really a very warming experience.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Joint Resolution 712 or Senate Joint Resolution 318? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Joint Resolution 712 and Senate Joint Resolution 318 be agreed to? The resolutions will be agreed to in the usual manner. All those in favor of agreeing to the resolution will please rise. The resolutions are agreed to.
Commending resolutions.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would now respectfully move that all the commending resolutions on pages 13 through 16 of the calendar, including House Joint Resolution 727 through Senate Resolution 102, be agreed to in the block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolution. Any senator who may desire to remove a commending resolution from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that resolution.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the commending resolutions on pages 12 through 16, House Joint Resolution 727 through Senate Resolution 105, be considered in the block by voice vote, waiving the reading of the resolutions with the understanding that any senator desiring a resolution be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The resolutions are before us in the block. The clerk will read the numbers of the resolutions.
House Joint Resolutions 727, 733, 736, 737, 739, 740, 742, 746.
Mr. President.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Could HJR 742 come out of the block and go by for the day?
Without objection, HJR 742 will come out of the block and go by for the day.
747, 748, 753, 755, 756, 757, 758, 763, 764, 770, 773, Senate Joint Resolutions 329, 330, 331, 333, 334, 336, 337, 339, 342, 343, 348, 353, 354, 355, and Senate Resolutions 102, 105.
Question is, shall the resolutions be agreed to? There's all resolutions except for House Joint Resolution 742. All in favor of agreeing to the resolutions will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolutions are agreed to. Senator from James City.
Mr. President.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Can we return for the morning hour for a brief introduction?
Without objection, we'll return to the morning hour.
Mr. President, we have visiting with us today really the conscience of so many groups. Ms. Hobbs, Jane Hobbs, reminds me continuously of my need to watch out for those that need help watching out for. And she's been my conscience for years and doesn't hesitate to pick up the phone even though she's been long retired from various local community service boards. She's here today with Billy Miller and my special friend Mary Miller and Britt Costco. And I would ask that you give them the warm welcome to the Senate and especially warm welcome to Mary Miller, my fist pump buddy and a really special young lady.
Thank the Senator. Well, okay, we'll allow it. With James Hobbs, Billy Miller, Mary Miller, and Britt Costco, please rise in the gallery if you are able. Again, thank you all so much for joining us here today. Thank you for your tremendous work on behalf of so many people, our young people, but really all of us here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're grateful to you. Echo the eloquent and generous words of the Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner. And I would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our four distinguished guests. Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Right for a brief introduction.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. Today we have joined us the Lead Peninsula Leadership Class. You just saw some great community activists from the Virginia Peninsula. These are business professionals that take a year out of their life to go around, learn about all the things, all the important activities going on in the peninsula to become more ingrained and more part of the community. Mr. President, I appreciate it if you give them the warm welcome to the Senate. Thank you, sir.
I thank the Senator. Would our leaders from Lead Peninsula please rise in the gallery if you are able? Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Thank you for your leadership on the peninsula, but also really all throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We depend on thoughtful, very intelligent, concerned citizens like you to take leadership roles that move us forward in policy and legislatively and make our communities better. So we are deeply appreciative of your time, commitment, and the effort that you put into such important work. I would echo the eloquent and generous words of Senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason, who I know is particularly proud of you, along with all the other great representatives here in the Senate that represent your area, Senator Norman and others, Senator Locke. Thank you so much, and I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our leaders from Lead Peninsula. Do any other senators wish to be recognized for purposes of an introduction? Seeing none, we'll return to the calendar. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now respectfully ask that we stand in recess until 1:30, and that on recess, if the Senate Republican Caucus would be kind enough to return to their prayer meeting room.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
And if the Senate Democrats would meet in the back conference room, please.
Thank you, Senator. Without objection, the Senate will stand in recess until 1:30. Senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, continuing on the calendar, and I believe the matter before the body is Senate Bill 1100, and I would yield to the co-chairman of Finance.
Thanks, Senator. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first move that we suspend the rules and grant the privileges of the floor to members of the Senate Finance Committee staff.
Thanks, Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the privileges of the floor be granted to the Senate Finance Committee staff? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The rules are suspended and the privileges of the floor are granted to the Senate Finance Committee staff. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking to the measure at hand.
Senators, the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, we're here today under a special and continuing order to consider amendments to Senate Bill 1100, which amends the 2018-20 biennial budget. This year's the committee's deliberations have focused on tax policy choices resulting from the impact of the Federal Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which has $1.2 billion impact to the Commonwealth's general fund revenues over the biennium. The committee recommendations before you today are focused on our commitment to providing tax relief to Virginia taxpayers this calendar year, as we also address pressing needs on the expenditure side. To that end, we have dedicated almost $500 million to our tax reform fund, which will provide refunds to taxpayers after the close of the fiscal year 2019 in order to ensure that cash is in the bank prior to the returning of these monies to the individual taxpayers. Moreover, we believe that meaningful tax reform can and must be accomplished this session, and the committee recommendations remove over $470 million in assumed revenues to acknowledge the impact of increasing the individual standard deduction consistent with the provision of the committee's tax policy and conformity legislation. The Finance Committee remains focused on protecting our AAA bond rating by recommending substantial deposits to both the Rainy Day Fund and the Revenue Cash Reserve. Our amendments include significant deposits to both the Revenue Cash Reserve and the Rainy Day Fund, which taken together, our combined savings will be over $1.3 billion by the end of year fiscal 2020. The resulting tax actions required the committee to reduce much of the new spending proposed by the governor in the introduced budget, but we were able to redirect funding to the committee's priorities, maintaining a strong cash position while funding the cost of a 5% raise for teachers, fully funding Medicaid utilization and inflation costs, and providing additional resources to other committee priorities. In addition, these recommendations provide $70 million to the Literary Fund for school construction, and in the area of higher education, we maintain our commitment to ensuring cost-effective approaches to paying for college and recommend more than $15 million for undergraduate student financial aid. Before I conclude with my introductory remarks, Mr. President, I certainly want to thank the members of the committee for their hard work in producing a strong budget, hopefully worthy of your consideration here today. And with that, Mr. President, I would explain the procedure that will follow today. We will take up the committee amendments in a block. Anyone who would like to remove an amendment from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the item number. We will vote on the uncontested committee amendments in a block. Then we will return to the committee amendments taken out of the block and take them up in order. Then we will take up floor amendments, if there are any. Senate Finance Committee staff can answer your questions for you if issues arise during any item that we may be discussing or debating. With that, Mr. President, I would ask the clerk to begin reading the title.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much. The Senator outlined the process, and for that I'm appreciative. The only thing that I would add 2 points. First of all, if there is something in the budget or an item in the budget that you do not concur with, the Senate clerk's office has distributed a yellow form on your desk, and it allows you to take exception verbally if you do not agree with a particular item on it, but can then note that exception and vote on the balance of the budget. Also, the written form, you don't have to turn it in if you have more than one item that you are concerned about. You can just list those items on that and submit that to the clerk's office. The other point, Mr. President, is that if a matter is taken out of the block and a floor amendment is offered and that floor amendment is adopted, then that floor amendment that is adopted would be inconsistent with the amendment that is in the block there, that has been printed, and therefore would be out of order, and we would not have to address it.
Thank you, Senator. Madam Clerk.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bill on second reading, Senate Bill 1100. A bill which appropriated funds for the 2018-20 biennium and to provide a portion of revenues for the 2 years ending respectively on the 30th day of June 2019 and the 30th day of June 2020. The budget. Reported from the Committee on Finance with amendments. On page 1, item 0, number 1. Item 1, number 1. On page 2, item 1, number 2. Item 1, number 3. Page 3, item 4, number 1. Item 6, number 1. Item 6, number 2. Page 4, item 11, number 1. Item 30, number 1. Item 31, number 1. Item 34, number 1. Page 6, item 49, number 1. Item 49, number 2.
Mr. President.
Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
Could item 49, number 2, please come out of the block?
Without objection, item 49, number 2 will be removed from the block.
Oh, to be passed by temporarily, I'm sorry.
Or passed by temporarily. Out of the block? Out of the block is fine. Thank you, Senator.
Item 51, number 1. Page 7. Item 54, number 1. Item 58, number 1. Page 8. Item 62, number 1. Item 65, number 1. Item 65, number 2. Page 9. Item 66, number 1. Item 71, number 1. Page 10. Item 71, number 2. Item 73, number 1. Page 12. Item 73, number 2. Item 80, number 1. Item 83, number 1. Page 13. Item 83, number 2. Item 83, number 3. Item 83, number 4. Page 14. Item 84.20, number 1. Item 84.20, number 2. Page 15. Item 84.30, number 1. Item 91, number 1. Page 16. Item 98, number 1. Item 98, number 2. Item 98, number 3. Item 98, number 4. Page 17. Item 102, number 1. Item 103, number 1. Page 18. Item 103, number 2. Item 105, number 1. Page
Objection.
19.
Or can that be, can item 105?
Sustained.
Let me rephrase that. Can item 105, number 1S, be taken out of the block and passed by temporarily?
Item 105, number 1, on page 18, will be removed from the block. Thank the Senator.
And for future, you don't have to say the S. You can leave that out. Yes. Item 19, page 19, item 105, number 2. Item 106, number 1. Item 106, number 2. Page 20. Item 109, number 1. Item 113, number 1.
Mr. President?
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Could number 113, number 1, come out of the block?
Item be removed from the block.
Page 21, item 117, number 1. Item 117, number 2. Page 22, item 119, number 1. Item 122, number 1. Page 23, item 122, number 2. Item 123, number 1. Item 126, number 1. Page 24, item 126, number 2. Item 128, number 1. Page 25, item 128, number 2. Item 129, number 1. Item 130, number 1. Page 26, item 133, number 1. Item 134, number 1. Item 135, number 1. Page 27, item 135, number 2. Item 135, number 3. Item 135, number 4. Page 28, item 135, number 5. Page 29, item 135, number 6. Page 30. Sorry, on 29, item 136, number 1. Page 30, item 136, number 2. Page 31.
Mr. President.
Senator from Prince William, Senator Pike.
Item 136-2 come out of the block.
Without objection, item is removed from the block.
Page 31, item 136, number 3. Item 136, number 4. Item 136, number 5. Page 32, item 136, number 6. Item 136, number 7. Page 33, item 136, number 8. Page 34, item 136, number 9. Item 136, number 10. Page 35, item 141, number 1. Item 141, number 2. Item 143, number 1. Page 36, item 143, number 2. Item 143, number 3. Page 37, item 143, number 4. Page 38, item 143, number 5. Item 143, number 6. Page 40, item 151, number 1. Item 159, number 1. Page 41, item 162, number 1. Item 180, number 1. Item 195, number 1. Page 42, item 200, number 1. Item 204, number 1. Page 43, item 210, number 1. Item 210, number 2. Page 44, item 216, number 1. Item 227, number 1. Item 232, number 1. Page 45, item 232, number 2. Item 234, number 1. Page 46, item 234, number 2. Item 238, number 1. Item 241, number 1. Page 47, item 243, number 1. Item 251, number 1. Item 252, number 1. Page 48. Item 255, number 1. Page 49. Item 255, number 2. Item 255, number 3. Page 50. Item 266, number 1.
Mr. President.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that item number 260, number 1, come out of the block.
Is that 266, Senator?
266.
Okay. Thanks, Senator. Without objection, it's removed from the block.
Item 266.10, number 1. Page 51. Item 276, number 1. Page 52. Item 281, number 1. Item 281, number 2. Page 53. Item 282, number 1. Item 282, number 2. Page 54. Item 287, number 1. Page 55. Item 289, number 1. Item 290, number 1. Item 291, number 1. Page 56. Item 291, number 2. Item 292, number 1.
Mr. President.
Senator from Mackinac, Senator Lewis.
Could item 292, number 1, come out of the block, please?
Without objection, it's removed from the block.
Item 292, number 2. Page 57. Item 293, number 1. Item 293.
Mr. President, could item 293, number 1, come out of the block?
Without objection, it's removed from the block.
Item 293, number 2. Page 58. Item 293, number 3. Item 293, number 4. Page 59. Item 294, number 1. Item 297, number 1. Item 297, number 2. Page 60. Item 297, number 3. Item 299, number 1. Page 61. Item 303, number 1.
Mr. President.
Senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Going back to 136, can number 7, regarding the local composite index, come out, please?
Okay, what page number, Senator?
I'll find it for you. Page 32, I'm sorry.
Okay, so, Senator, if you can repeat that. So it's page 32. Which item number would you like to remove from the block?
Number 7, 136, number 7 on page 32. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. Without objections, removed from the block.
Page 62, item 303, number 3. Item 303, number 4. Page 63, item 303, number 5. Item 303, number 6. Page 64, item 303, number 7. Item 303, number 8. Page 65, item 303, number 9. Item 303, number 10. Item 303, number 11. Page 66. Item 303, number 12. Page 67. Item 307, number 1. Item 307, number 2. Item 307, number 3. Page 68. Item 307, number 4. Item 307, number 5. Page 69. Item 307, number 6. Item 307, number 7. Page 70. Item 307, number 8. Item 307, number 9. Page 71. Item 307, number 10. Item 307, number 11.
Mr. President.
Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds.
Could you remove item 307, number 11 from the block?
Without objection, item is removed from the block.
Page 72. Item 307, number 12. Item 307, number 13. Page 73. Item 307, number 14. Item 307, number 15. Page 75. Item 310, number 1. Item 310, number 2. Page 76. Item 310, number 3. Page 77. Item 310, number 4. Page 78. Item 310, number 5. Item 310, number 6. Page 79. Item 310, number 7. Item 310, number 8. Page 80. Item 311, number 1. Item 312, number 1. Page 81. Item 312, number 2.
Mr. President.
Senator from Northern Fairfax. Senator Howe.
Can item 312, number 2, come out of the block?
Without objection, item is removed from the block.
Item 312, number 3. Page 82. Item 312, number 4. Item 312, number 5. Page 83. Item 316, number 1. Item 329, number 1. Item 330, number 1. Page 84. Item 334, number 1. Item 339, number 1. Page 85. Item 340, number 1. Item 340, number 2. Page 86. Item 340, number 3. Item 341, number 1. Page 87. Item 341, number 2. Item 341, number 3. Item 342, number 1. Page 88. Item 343, number 1. Item 344, number 1. Page 89. Item 344, number 2. Item 344, number 3. Page 90. Item 346, number 1. Item 346, number 2. Page 91. Item 347.10, number 1. Page 92. Item 348, number 1. Item 351, number 1. Item 355, number 1. Page 93. Item 361, number 1. Item 362, number 1. Page 94. Item 362, number 2. Item 363, number 1. Page 95. Item 363, number 2. Item 363, number 3.
Mr. President.
Senator from Western Fairfax. Senator
Thank you,
Martin.
Mr. President. Could number 363, number 3 come out of the block and by temporarily?
Without objection, the item is removed from the block.
Page 96. Item 363, number 4. Item 363, number 5. Item 366, number 1. Page 97. Item 366, number 2. Item 366, number 3. Page 98. Item 366, number 4. Item 368, number 1.
Mr. President.
Senator from Augusta. Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that item number 368, number 1, come out of the block.
Thank you, Senator. Without objection, the item is removed from the block.
Page 99. Item 374, number 1. Item 376, number 1. Item 381.
Mr. President.
Senator from Accomack. Senator Lewis.
Could item 376, number 1, come out of the block, please?
Without objection, item is removed from the block.
Item 381, number 1. Page 100. Item 381, number 2. Item 385, number 1. Page 101. Item 387, number 1. Item 389, number 1. Page 102. Item 389, number 2. Item 390, number 1. Page 103. Item 390, number 2. Item 390, number 3. Page 104. Item 390, number 4. Item 390, number 5. Page 105. Item 390, number 6. Item 390, number 7. Page 106. Item 391, number 1. Item 391, number 2. Item 391, number 3. Page 107. Item 392, number 1. Item 392, number 2. Page 108. Item 392, number 3. Item 393, number 1. Page 109. Item 395, number 1. Item 395, number 2. Item 395, number 3. Page 110. Item 399, number 1. Item 399, number 2. Item 400, number 1. Page 111. Item 402, number 1. Item 402, number 2. Page 112. Item 406, number 1. Item 407, number 1. Item 414, number 1. Page 113. Item 416, number 1. Item 419, number 1. Page 114. Item 419, number 2. Item 419, number 3. Item 419, number 4. Page 115. Item 419, number 5. Item 419, number 6. Item 419, number 7. Page 116. Item 419, number 8. Item 420, number 1. Page 117. Item 434, number 1. Item 434, number 2. Page 118. Item 439, number 1. Item 445, number 1. Page 119. Item 445, number 2. Item 446, number 1. Page 120. Item 449, number 1. Item 449, number 2.
Mr. President.
Senator from Bass, Senator Deeves.
I request that item 449, number 2, be removed from the block.
Without objection, the item is removed from the block.
Page 121. Item 450, number 1. Item 453, number 1. Page 122. Item 464, number 1. Page 123. Item 466, number 1. Item 468, number 1. Item 474, number 1. Page 124. Item 474, number 2. Item 474, number 3. Page 125. Item 474, number 4. Item 474, number 5. Page 126. Item 474, number 6. Item 474, number 7. Page 127. Item 475, number 1. Item 475, number 2. Item 475, number 3. Page 128. Item 475, number 4. Page 129. Item 475, number 5. Item 475, number 6. Page 130. Item 486, number 1. Item 486, number 2. Item 486, number 3. Page 131. Item C-1.10, number 1. Item C-7, number 1. Page 132. Item C-8.10, number 1. Item C-8.60, number 1. Page 133. Item C-13, number 1. Item C-13.10, number 1. Item C-13.20, number 1. Page 134. Item C-25, number 1. Item C-34.10, number 1. Page 135. Item C-44.20, number 1. Item C-47, number 1. Page 136. Item C-48.10, number 1. Item C-49.10, number 1. Item C-53, number 1. Page 137. Item 3.1.01, number 1. Item 3-1.01, number 2. Page 138. Item 3-5.15, number 1. Item 3-5.16, number 1. Item 3-5.17, number 1. Page 139. Item 3-5.20, number 1.
Mr. President.
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Could item 3-5.20 come out of the block?
Without objection, item is removed from the block.
Item 4-2.01, number 1. Item 4-4.01, number 1. Page 140. Item 4-5.10, number 1. Page 141. Item 4-6.01, number 1. Item 4-6.01, number 2. Item 4-6.07, number 1. Page 142. Item 4-14, number 1. Item 4-14, number 2. Page 162. Item 4-14, number 3. Page 170. Item 4-14, number 4. Page 208. Item 4-14, number 5.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds.
42. I'd like for item 4-14, number 2 to be pulled from the block.
Without objection. This is page 142.
Yes.
Item 4-14, number 2. Without objection, it's removed from the block.
Mr. President.
Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could we take put item number 363, number 3, back into the block from whence it came?
It's page 95.
Yes, 95. Page 95.
Without objection, item 363, number 3, is returned to the block. Question is, shall the uncontested amendments in the block be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendments are agreed to. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to first take up item amendment number 1, item number 266, 1S.
Which is that page 50, Senator?
That is correct, I believe.
Should we do them in order?
Okay. That we would.
Senate will be at ease temporarily.
Before we begin the business of all that, I have an inquiry. If a member had an issue with one of the enactment clauses, how would one refer to that on the objection sheet? And is there any way to pull that out also?
Left. That's insulting. That's insulting that they don't think we're worth it.
Returning to page 50, item 266, number 1.
But it's the floor.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I would first move that amendment taken out of the block passed, but I want to speak in opposition to that, if I could, Mr. President.
Senator, I think we're...
Is we good? Okay.
So we'll take Mr. President. Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate. There were several items that were taken out of the block that we've had some discussions prior to sitting down here today where we will not want to accept that particular amendment, so we would actually vote it down and then replace it with a floor amendment. And this particular one is one of those, Mr. President. And the reason for it going first, and I would say after we do that, this one deals with our resources. So it's necessary that we make adjustments to our resources first before we consider then these others that will add some to the cost bottom line, Mr. President. So with that, I would ask that we reject the amendment that is in your half sheets.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The noes have it. The committee amendment is rejected. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would then move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment, number 1.
Senator, the question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, this floor amendment would essentially have the impact of reducing our revenue reserves essentially to the amount of amendments that we would hope to adopt so that they would be covered with revenue available. So I would move that we adopt the floor amendment.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard? Seeing none, the question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
Returning to page 6, item 49, number 2.
Senator from Southern Fairfax.
Mr. Chair, I move that item 49, number 2, pass, but recommend that we vote against that. So with a recommendation for rejection, put that motion on the floor.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. No. The noes have it. The committee amendment is rejected. Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
All right, we have now then on that item, it is waive the reading of floor amendment number, well, actually, it's item 49 item 49 number 2, which is in the sheets that were handed out under my name. It's the second page.
Okay. Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
All right, Mr. President, I defer to the senator from Hampton to present the floor amendment here. So.
Senator from Hampton, Senator Lott.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this amendment would do is to provide $1,275,000 in general funds in the second year to the Virginia State Bar for additional staff in support of Senate Bill 1450 for the eviction diversion pilot program. And I move that the amendment pass.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard? Senator from James City County, Senator Norman Rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that you support the amendment as articulated by the senator from Hampton.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the floor amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is agreed to.
On page 18, item 105, number 1.
Mr. President, with the recommendation that be rejected, I move that item 105, number 1, be adopted.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The noes have it. The committee amendment is rejected. Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Yes, and this packet that has under number 4, the third page has item number 105. Number 1. And I will move that, waive the reading of that.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Southern Fairfax.
All right, I now defer to the senator from Alexandria to address this issue.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to the senator from Fairfax. This amendment provides an additional $1.5 million from the general fund each year for the Housing Trust Fund, bringing the total deposit to $7 million annually. And it's important because we have an affordable housing crisis in Virginia that's unsustainable. For many people, rent is unaffordable. 1 in 3 households in Virginia spend more than 30% of their income in housing. I would say that one of the things that's important about this amendment is leveraging other funds. We know that the average leverage funding for a housing trust fund projects is $26 for every $1 invested. Thus, the $2 million, the amount invested will be more than $52 million in additional funding for affordable housing. It's a necessary investment in Virginia's future, and I would ask that the senator's motion pass.
Thank the senator. The question is, for what purpose, Senator from Mecklenburg? Senator Ruff Rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to support that floor amendment.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the floor amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is agreed to.
Page 20, item 113, number 1.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 113.1, the introduced budget proposed an increase of $1.4 million to support 12 additional compliance officer positions at the Occupational Safety and Health Program. These positions would conduct inspections and issue citations where regulatory violations are found. The committee reversed that decision, and in 2017, the General Assembly increased the funding for this program by $650,000 per year. The increase in 2017 funds 6 positions, 3 in the voluntary program and 3 in the consultation services. I move that amendment pass.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben rise.
To speak to the amendment.
Senator, has the floor.
In 2015, the National Safety Council reported that the average cost of an occupational injury requiring medical care was $42,000. And we know that for a business to generate those funds, they need to generate to spend those funds, they need to generate $512,000 in new revenues just to pay for the cost of that single injury. And that the average voluntary occupational safety and health program officer identifies 309 serious hazards per year, any one of which is capable of resulting in a life-threatening injury requiring medical care. Further, we know that the unfunded safety and health officer positions account for 20% of the available staff and would address health and safety issues for approximately 266,000 businesses and 3.7 Virginia employees. While I appreciate the committee's funding in the previous budget, the continuous lack of funding for these positions has resulted in thousands of inspections not occurring and tens of thousands of serious workplace hazards not being identified. We know that during the 4-year period of 2010 to 2013, the number of safety inspections declined by 20%, and tragically, there's been a 12% increase in fatal accidents annually from 2013 to 2018. That increase is a potential early warning sign reflective of years of inadequately funded compliance and cooperative programs in those cooperative programs. This request, the request of the governor, would provide protection to more Virginia workers and businesses, and we know that the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry is requesting new funding not for bureaucracy, but to save lives. Accordingly, I ask that you oppose the Finance Committee's proposed amendment.
What purpose does the Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would simply ask that the members vote in support of this amendment.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose does the Senator from James City County, Senator Norman, rise?
Yes, Mr. President, while there's a little bit of circuitous conversations going on, this amendment is in the budget as it now exists, and it's not a floor amendment, so we would want to keep it in the budget.
What purpose does it? Okay. Right. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 30, item 136, number 2.
Mr. President.
Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
With the recommendation that the committee amendment be rejected, I move that the committee amendment be adopted.
Okay. Question is, with the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The noes have it. The committee amendment is rejected. Senator from Southern Fairfax.
Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment for item 136, number 2, which is the first page of the set that has my name on it, be waived. Waive the reading.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment be adopted and deferred to the Senator from Prince William.
Senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking to this amendment, this amendment provides roughly $12 million increase to support the additional approximately 250 school counselors in elementary, middle, and high schools. It's roughly $2.1 million over what's proposed in the budget. Many in this body have been working, I think, in a really good bipartisan effort to find ways, starting back from years ago from the high school redesign efforts, which have had significant impact. The Board of Education have adopted a new framework. These school counselors are a critical part of that effort. And I think as we step through this today, this goes roughly 1/3 of way there, but it's a good step forward. Many of our localities have had a good level of effort towards this regard and ask that the amendment offered be adopted.
Thanks, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman Rouse.
Mr. President, we appreciate the amendment. This actually takes it up to the counselors to being 1 in 250. That's a good improvement. We appreciate the amendment, and I hope we would adopt the amendment.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
Page 32, item 136, number 7.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, yes. Mr. President, 136, number 7, is an amendment that reflects a bill that came through both our Committee on Education and Health and also through the Finance Committee. Mr. Chairman, as some of you know, over the last few years, we have had some questions that have kind of lingered on whether or not we were going to include some of the land preservation programs into our composite index. While it may look like a large amendment, it is actually a small amendment. Currently in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have about $1.1 trillion worth of land use. This amendment would affect about $2.6 million. Mr. President, I hope we would adopt the committee amendment.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 36, item 292, number 1.
Page 56.
56. Page 56, item 292, number 1.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hager.
Mr. President. Mr. President, this item 292, number 1, was a proposed earmark to the Eastville Community Health Center. In looking at resources available to us, we thought that was something we just would not address in this budget. So I hope that the body will support the amendment and vote yes.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 57, item 293, number 1.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Likewise, item number 293, number 1. This was another appropriation, but this was for Riverside Shore Memorial Hospital of Stretzick's program. We did reduce that amount in the second year by $600,000 with this amendment, but that leaves $600,000 still for the program. So I would ask that you support the amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 71, item 307, number 11.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill basically is in compliance, is language to support a bill that we passed, Senate Bill 1352, dealing with the problem we encountered this past year with mistakes or lack of credibility, if you will, in the Medicaid forecast. It's recognized that we're trying to improve that, and the Senate bill that we passed basically would set up a separate agency to do that, drawing the resources from the existing budget of DMAS, and I would ask that you support the amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 81, item 312, number 2.
Senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe.
Thank you. With the recommendation that it be rejected, I move that we adopt the amendment.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Noes have it. The committee amendment is rejected. Senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe.
We waive the reading of the amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe.
Thank you. What this amendment does is adds $3 million to our permanent supportive housing initiative. As you may remember, the Commission on Mental Health in the 21st Century strongly recommended permanent supportive housing because not only is it humane, but it saves us significant funds in both jails and in emergency rooms. So this is a wonderful amendment that will add an additional $3 million to that initiative.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
On page 98, item 368, number 1.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, I would move that this amendment be adopted, but I would ask you to reject that motion. I'd like to speak to that.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. There's also a floor amendment that will be offered if we reject this. As you're all aware, we're working on our water quality improvement plan, and one of the integral parts of that is the Stormwater Local Assistance Grant Program, which provides grants to local governments in support of our goals under that plan. We had, in looking at limited resources initially, we had zeroed out the $50 million, and so I would hope you would reject that because I have a floor amendment that would follow up with, which would restore some of that funding. So I would ask that you reject the amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, with the recommendation that it be rejected, shall the amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The noes have it. The committee amendment is rejected. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment.
Question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. If this floor amendment is adopted, it would restore $10 million to that particular fund. So I move the adoption of the floor amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
Page 99, item 376, number 1.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. 376-1, the governor added $1 million to the oyster restoration program. This reverses that. In Chapter 2 last year, we provided an additional $2 million for the purpose.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 120, item 449, number 2.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendment be adopted and speaking to that motion.
Thanks, Senator. You have the floor.
The committee amendment asked that VDOT conduct and evaluate a feasibility study on the eastern bypass around the city of Charlottesville. And in conducting the evaluation, they're to confer with local businesses, with the University of Virginia employees, the Virginia Health System, and evaluate various proposing funding options, including the potential to sell back unused land from the proposed western bypass. And so with that explanation, I renew the motion to pass.
Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator. Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds.
Would the senator from Lynchburg assume the floor for the purposes of a question?
Will Senator rise for a question?
Yes, I will.
Senator Rise, you have the floor.
Mr. President, I'd ask the gentleman if he introduced Senate Joint Resolution 259, what the subject of that resolution was, and what fate it met.
Senator has the floor.
I believe if that's my Charlottesville bypass study resolution, I'll be honest with the gentleman from Bath, I do not remember numbers, but I did introduce that resolution.
Mr. President, I'd ask the gentleman if it did basically the same thing this amendment does, but it died in rules by a 10-to-1 vote.
Senator's floor.
Mr. President and gentleman from Bath, this is not the same. That was a study that I proposed a study which is more in depth by VDOT and would have incurred financial impact. The language that we have here is a simple review and does not have a financial impact to the best of my understanding.
Mr. President, would the senior senator from Virginia Beach assume the floor for the purposes of
Senator rise for a question.
I do.
Senator Yields, you have the floor.
Mr. President, I'd ask the gentleman that over the last few years we've passed legislation that was primarily sponsored by the delegate from, I think, Suffolk to depoliticize the process of selecting projects that got funded. I would ask the gentleman, in light of that legislation, is it often that we stick in the budget language to promote one project over another?
Senator's floor.
My response is that this doesn't promote nor does it fund one project over another. This merely asks that VDOT look at a study for proposing an eastern bypass. I will tell you this to the body, that I wish that we had done some of this prior planning on many cities around the Commonwealth right now as we struggle to move folks around and move transportation around. Clearly, I've had the opportunity during my midlife crisis to run for statewide office, to run up and down 29 many times. And while I'm over my midlife crisis, I can assure the body, I will tell you that the increasing traffic as I try to enter Charlottesville from the north would indicate to me that this is probably something that no harm, no foul can come from studying this issue and looking at potential ways to save money. And I also say that significant money has been spent previously on the proposed western bypass, as I know the senator knows, and do that. So I see no harm in moving forward with this.
Thanks, Senator. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 139. Item 3-5.20, number 1.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. This proposed amendment basically eliminates the language dealing with the refundable earned income tax credit. This is something, Mr. President, members of the Senate, that we struggled with, but we opted instead for what you'll find certainly in the conformity bill that we advanced earlier, a little over a week ago, or about a week ago, I should say, and reflected also in language that we will see later in our budget bill. We felt that it appropriate to return funds to individuals in low income levels, but the judgment was made that we would not return tax dollars back to individuals who had in excess of what they had actually paid in. So I would urge the members to vote for the amendment.
Senator, for what purpose is the senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Speak against the amendment.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, and first of all, let me preface by saying I think this is a pretty darn good budget, but this is going to be one part I will disagree with. And I'm going to harken back just a tiny bit to the early 90s when we enacted welfare reform. Not me. I was in law school, but those folks that were in the United States Congress, they decided to go forward with welfare reform, and part of that was the earned income tax credit, which was to say to the working poor, you're not going to get a free pass, but if you do go to work and you work, we will have basically an insurance scheme whereby you will get your tax dollars refunded to you up to a threshold amount, which would include money refunded to you even if you hadn't paid. And the whole idea was to encourage people to work, and it was a bipartisan idea to end welfare as we know it, according to a presidential candidate from Arkansas at that time. And so, this is something that we never fully adopted as a state, unlike many other states. I think the governor came forward with this idea, recognizing that we had an opportunity to do it. I thought it was a good idea, a smart idea, and I'm opposed to seeing it come out of the budget. So, again, recognizing the good things we're doing with this budget, I will oppose this amendment. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard? Seeing none, the question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The noes have it. Committee amendment is rejected. One, two, three, four, five. All right, seeing at least 8 hands, we'll have a recorded vote. Those in favor of adopting the committee amendment. Senior Senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw.
Mr. President, based on what you said, it appears that I voted on the prevailing side, so I would move to reconsider the vote by which we failed to adopt the amendment.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the vote by which the committee amendment failed be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0.
Ayes 40, noes 0. The motion is agreed to. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I apologize for the confusion, but we need to vote in favor of what is in the budget, and I'm sure it was just a misunderstanding before.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Chair is uncertain. We'll have a recorded. No, I'm talking to. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
Page 142, item 4-14, number 2.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm respectfully asking the body to vote in favor of this amendment that is contained before you. This, in essence, is the conformity bill that came out of the Senate Finance Committee. We had some deliberation on that, but I'm asking you to support it in light of some of the changes that we have made today. Basically, just reminding you all where it is that in the end it returns about $1 billion in rounded numbers to the taxpayers in various forms. It has a refund of $110 for individuals, $220 for joint filers. We are hopeful that that will be issued in October, around in October of this year. It includes the GILTI, which is that foreign tax credit situation. It also includes a 20% or 1/5 allowance of the net income deduction on it. It does a deconformity on what's referred to as SALT, or the state tax and interest deduction. And in 20, it will increase the standard deduction to $4,500 and $9,000, and I would ask you to please support that.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
I got one more.
Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Mr. President, there's one more. There's a floor amendment that was not replacing an existing item in the budget, but adding one to it, which is item 362, number 3S3, and the last page, the fourth page out of the set that have my name on it. And so I would move that we adopt that, and I would defer to my colleague. Waive the reading first. So I move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment.
Thanks, Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barton.
Now, Mr. President, I move that the floor amendment be adopted, and I defer to the senator from Western Fairfax.
Hey, Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. President. This amendment provides a one-time deposit of $5 million into from the general fund to the Water Quality Improvement Fund to eliminate the backlog of state commitments for 118 livestock stream exclusions, which is in keeping with agricultural best management practice. This also helps the work, Mr. President, of a number of individuals who've been working in the Shenandoah Valley on water quality improvement, working with the river keepers and a number of agricultural industry folks and local government. Delegates Wiebert, Wilt, Collins, and Senators Hanger and Vogel have been working closely to find solutions to water quality issues in the Shenandoah Valley, and that's a really good thing. And it had one unanticipated benefit as well, is that this is going to mitigate the epidemic of shopping carts in our creeks here in the Commonwealth, and so I urge you to support the floor amendment.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose is Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Roughride?
Thank you, Mr. President. I concur with the amendment on 363.3.
Thanks, Senator. 362.3.
Actually, 363.
363. What purpose is senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove, rise?
Just ask the ladies and gentlemen of the body if we take care of this and all those shopping carts come out, does that mean that Senator Servell is going to have more time to do other things? That scares me, I just got to say.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Mr. President, inquiry, are there additional floor amendments?
No, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, that I move that the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading of the title of the bill be dispensed with.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading of the title of the bill be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended and the third constitutional reading of the title of the bill is dispensed with. Sure. Senators, we're going to take that vote one more time. Okay. Mishap. Question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading of the title of the bill be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0. I was right.
You were right. Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended and the third constitutional reading of the title of the bill is dispensed with. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, I would first move that the bill pass, and I'd like to speak to that.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, certainly appreciate the bipartisan cooperation in putting this bill together. Senator Norman and I are extremely appreciative of staff's time, of all the members of the Finance Committee, and indeed in a bipartisan way coming to agreement here today. We might have even noticed some confusion on floor amendments today because as a kinder, gentler Finance Committee, we've actually accepted a lot of floor amendments here today, and we don't normally do that. But it was all in the spirit of coming up with a bill, a measure that we could all feel more comfortable with, and I appreciate all of you who were involved in causing that to happen. At this time, I would defer to the senator from James City County. if he's interested in saying anything.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's really been a collaborative effort, and I appreciate the enormous effort of staff, which were put under incredible time constraints. And they've done an absolute outstanding job, and the hours that they have worked is just remarkable. But I also appreciate the bipartisan and collaborative effort in getting us to this point today, and hopefully we will move forward and have a budget that we'll have budget amendments that we can all be very proud of in the end.
Thank the senator. For what purpose does the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, rise?
Mr. President, members of the Senate, while you probably would never know it if you read the newspapers, believe it or not, we've met 4 times this week. And we're about to pass a budget, hopefully unanimously, that was put together by 2 parties working side by side to arrive at what we think is a sustainable budget. Is it perfect? No, of course not. Would everybody in here like to have had, their own goodies or take things in or out? I'm sure. But we were sent down here to do the business of the state. And this is what we are doing. And this is what we've been doing, regardless of what you may hear or read. So I just want the people, to know, if this ever makes it outside of the Senate floor, that we are here. Believe you me, we're earning that $18,000 a year that you're paying us, and we think that we've done some pretty good work here. We've got a ways to go. We've still got to deal with the House. We've still got a budget conference, but I want to thank the finance chairs. I want to thank the finance staff for the work done. They did work on a really accelerated time frame, accelerated time frame. But I think we've arrived at the best possible budget that 40 people could agree to. And I would hope that everyone would vote for this.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard?
Mr. President.
Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
I'm sorry, I have to get this piece of paper out. Mr. President, I'm abstaining pursuant to Rule 36 on item 363, number 3S, but voting on SB 1100 as a whole.
Journal will so note. Thanks, Senator. Junior Senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm abstaining pursuant to Rule 36 on item 84.20, item 1, item 84.20, number 2, and 106, number 1, but voting on SB 1100 as a whole.
Thank the senator. Journal will so note. Senator from Prince William, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I'm abstaining pursuant to Rule 36 on item C-48.10D, but voting on SB 1100 as a whole.
Thank the senator. Journal will so note. Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I am abstaining pursuant to Rule 36 on item number 204, number 1, but voting on the amendments to SB 1100 as a whole.
Thank the senator. The journal will so note. Do any other senators wish to be heard? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 1100 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. Senate Bill 1100 passes. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, if the body would join me in giving an unqualified and less than spontaneous applause and appreciation to our Senate finance staff, please.
Thanks, Senator. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Inquiry of the clerk, does that complete today's calendar?
Yes, sir. We do have two resolutions. Three, sorry.
Okay.
We multiplied.
The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules be suspended and SJR 365 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and SJR 365 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Clerk will please read the title.
Senate Joint Resolution number 365, celebrating the life of Lily A. Estes.
Junior Senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Mr. President, I move the resolution be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? We will agree to the resolution in the usual manner. All who agree to the resolution will please rise. The resolution is agreed to. Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules be suspended and SR 109 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and Senate Resolution 109 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. The clerk will please read the title.
Senate Resolution number 109, celebrating the life of Staff Sergeant Jasper N. Beauchamp, United States Army, retired.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All those in favor of agreeing to the memorial resolution will please rise. The resolution is agreed to. Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules be suspended and HJR 810 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and HJR 810 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. The clerk will please read the title.
House Joint Resolution number 810, commending Debbie Ritter.
Question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is agreed to. Senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I rise for a point of personal privilege. I'm getting there.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to share with the body today, regrettably, the passing of one of the greats and giants in Prince William County. Last night, Supervisor John Jenkins passed away after serving the NAPSCO district for 37 years. And as you can imagine, last year, you might recall that we had many resolutions celebrating many 50th anniversaries in Dale City. So almost the entire time of Dale City's existence, John Jenkins has been there in the community and has watched it grow. He's nurtured it over that time between the Dale City Civic Association, between the Dale City Volunteer Fire Department, between the recreation centers, the schools, and so many other things. And he has had a tremendous impact on so many people's lives. He was a public servant through and through. He served 2 tours in Vietnam. He retired from the Army as a lieutenant colonel, It's decorated with the Bronze Star with oak leaf cluster. After being elected, he served also as 2 terms of the chairman of the Northern Virginia Regional Commission, 2 terms of the state president of the Virginia Association of Planning District Commissioners, was the state president of the Virginia Association of Planning District Commissions, as well as the president of the Virginia Association of Counties. He also served as 2 terms as chairman of the Virginia Railway Express Operations Board and served as the chairman of the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission. John, wherever he was always with his wife Ernestine. And Ernestine Jenkins, please know, and all of the Jenkins family, that our prayers and thoughts are with them today. John leaves a long legacy of our community, and I think an example of leadership. I remember growing up as a kid, he was the guy I looked for. And anybody who knows John, his stature is an altitude above mine. And as a little kid growing up in baseball, he was just a giant in stature as well. But what he embodied as a person. And seeing him at whether it be baseball games or the first day, throwing out a pitch, to 4th of July parade, he was always there, both at weddings and funerals, my own wedding as well, and so many things throughout all of our lives in Dale City. And he was a great example for us to live by as public servants. And we thank John today for his service, and it will have a memorial resolution prepared for him tomorrow, and we'll ask tomorrow that we adjourn in his memory. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. For what purpose is Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
I thank the gentleman from Prince William for yielding today's adjournment to somebody who's been a mentor to me probably the entirety of my adult life. And everybody in the chamber signed off on the resolution that we approved today for his memorial resolution for Sergeant Jasper N. Beecham, as we knew him as Uncle Chuck. I just wanted to tell you all the greatest generation is dying at such a rapid rate, and Uncle Chuck turned 100 in June, and he died yesterday. And you will make my relatives back home at his funeral very happy. But I just wanted to read a couple things and tell you that these kind of people are hard to find today. Uncle Chuck was assigned to the 330th Infantry Regiment during World War II. Actually, he started at 17 as a coast watcher. He's got 5 brothers. All 5 brothers went to war. It sounds like Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers. It's the same thing. One of those brothers is still buried in the Philippines. All of them came home banged up and everything else, but he was part of the second wave of D-Day on Normandy, France in 1944. He participated in Normandy, the Ardennes Forest, and the Rhineland campaigns. But I think for him, this kind of solidifies it, and those who have served in uniform understand what a Silver Star is and what a Purple Heart is. And he's got 2 of those and 2 Purple Hearts. So I thought I'd just read 2 of the Silver Star Awards, just so you can understand. Back then they had to do things by typewriters, and the war was going on. So commanders, when they wrote awards, didn't get a lot of time to put down. So they tried to put down the best they could for the time that they were there. So this first one's from 20 December 1944 in Untermachbach, Germany. Sergeant Beecham was leading his squad in the attack against the town and was halted by intense fire. Acting in his own initiative, Sergeant Beecham crawled forward over a hill, then being subjected to heavy enemy artillery, mortar, and small arms fire, worked his way to a house. He entered the house, killing 2 and capturing 4 of the enemy. After being joined by the remainder of his squad, he set up a defensive position, and the following day cleared 10 houses on the ridge, killing 7 of the enemy and taking 20 prisoners. This outstanding action by Sergeant Beecham was a vital factor in the success seizure of the town following the day by his battalion. It goes on to finish that, signed Robert C. Macon, Major General. Then in 4 January 1945, Uncle Chuck was wounded doing those actions and still continued on. But in 4 January, in the Battle of Bastogne, he was awarded the Silver Star Medal for distinguishing himself by gallantry in action on 4 January 1945. Sergeant Beecham's company was advancing through enemy artillery and mortar fire, and if you've ever seen Band of Brothers, you know what that was like. when the advance guard was pinned down by enemy small arms and machine gun fire. Upon his own initiative, Sergeant Beecham crawled more than 100 yards over snow-covered ground to a position where he could fire at the machine gun with his bar, which is a old-time big machine gun. By his daring action, he killed the crew of 2 enemy machine guns and thereby allowing his company to advance. The outstanding courage, devotion to duty, and fighting spirit of his non-commissioned officer reflect the highest credit upon himself and the finest traditions of the armed forces. In that action, he was also wounded. But he didn't come home. When he got home, he didn't complain. He got to work. He raised his family. He was a grandfather, had lots of grandkids, and he lived to the ripe age of 100. And his thing was, it's better to wear out than to rust out. And, Mr. President, I asked that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in the memory of Staff Sergeant Jasper N. Beecham.
Thank the senator. For what purpose, the senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain, rise?
Mr. President, for a quick announcement.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, there will be a brief meeting of the Courts of Justice Committee at my desk immediately following session.
Thank the senator. For what purpose, the senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards, rise?
Mr. President, on a matter of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, we've today voted on, I think, a very good budget. I didn't agree with everything in the budget, but for the most part, it's good for the future of this Commonwealth. One thing's missing from this budget, Mr. President, and we all know that, and that's any funding for I-81, which we've talked about. Mr. President, just yesterday, I'm advised that a truck driver lost his life in Roanoke County on I-81. Every day there are accidents on I-81. Yesterday, I understand there are other accidents, and perhaps today others as well. Many of you, especially those of us who are legislators all along I-81, probably received an email, I did, from a very prominent construction contractor noting the urgency of doing something about I-81. And he notices that if we continue to delay action on much-needed improvements to I-81, the loss of life, cost of delays to businesses, the cost to first responders, and impacts on property damage will only increase. Mr. President, we need to find a funding source for I-81, and I hope we continue thinking about that, especially as we go forward in the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. For what purpose, senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for a brief point of personal privilege.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, as you know, last night was our basketball game, and I can only say that there was really 2 halves to the game. The part before Delegate Adams got injured and the part afterwards. And the part afterwards we actually won pretty easily. It was the part before that was somewhat devastating. I just want to say that it was a little bit different. It was a little bit subdued. The Pages were out there and did a great job. The VCU had their band and had their spirit squad there, and that was really wonderful. We did raise $35,000. I will tell you, we used supply-side economics in calculating that amount. So those of you that have not yet gotten a check to me, which is about 40% of the folks on this floor, you need to find me. Yes, Stanley, I see you. We had a lot of great individual performances. I want to mention 2 people. One is my colleague to the right, Pistol Pete Maravich over here, Senator Barker, who hit the first shot and put us into a very, very temporary 2-0 lead. And the other one is my great friend in the foxhole, Sergeant Fury, Senator Reeves, who just did a great job on the defensive boards. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. You know what? I'm glad we did it. And so, again, get those checks to me, and thanks again.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Seeing none, the clerk report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Thursday, February 7th, the Courts of Justice Committee will meet immediately upon adjournment at the chair's desk. The Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment, Senate Room A in Pocahontas. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Public Education will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment, Subcommittee Room 2 on the 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Carrico, Donovan, Howell, Locke, and Peake. The Virginia Legislative Black Caucus will meet at 5 p.m., Subcommittee Room 300B, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Tomorrow, Friday, February the 8th, The Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services will meet at 8 a.m. Senate Room A, Pocahontas. Finance will meet at 9 o'clock in Senate Room 3 of the Capitol. Finance at... How'd you know I didn't have lunch? Finance will meet at 9 o'clock tomorrow in Senate Room 3 in the Capitol. The Republican caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session, Senate Room 2. The Democratic caucus will meet 1/2 hour before session, Senate Room 1. The Senate Committee for Courts of Justice and the House Judicial Panel will meet jointly upon adjournment of both the Senate and the House in the House Committee Room in Pocahontas to conduct judicial interviews.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
On the Public Education Subcommittee, we're going to meet about 15 minutes after so that we can get through the docket.
Thank the Senator. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Seeing none, Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. Mr. President, when we do so, I ask that we do so in memory of Staff Sergeant Jasper N. Chuck Beecham.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 10:30 a.m. tomorrow, and that when we adjourn, we do so in the memory of Staff Sergeant Jasper N. Beecham, United States Army, retired. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate stands adjourned until 10:30 a.m. tomorrow.